You see me posting these videos and sometimes you're looking at me thinking, wow, Ruwa Organic is, he's doing it, he's focused, he's not giving up. It's not only me who's making this work, because if it wasn't for some engineers behind the scenes, this would not be even working. I probably would have given up. I probably wouldn't have what I have today. And sometimes we just have to take time out and focus and reflect. So today I want to talk about the engineer behind my success. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, success, are you a millionaire yet? No. Success in the sense that I don't have a lot of stress, because a lot of things have been super managed for me, and whoa, it's been amazing. And this engineer that I'm talking about is my wife. Do you know that you can have these amazing plans to retire in Zimbabwe, buy a house, do all sorts of things, but if you don't have a proper wife, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. She will just jam up the program to a point where you start thinking, okay, is there a way out? But this is only being caused by what? One person, and that's your partner. So in my case, and now I'm talking about me, in my case, I've been blessed because my wife has taken on so much from me to a point where sometimes when I reflect, I actually think to myself, wow, she's still here. The reason why I'm saying that is because I am very, very difficult to deal with. I have anger issues. When I get frustrated, I take it out on everyone. There were moments in my life where I've messed up and she still stood by. Okay? There is also situations where we'd had to make some decisions regarding money, and she's been solid. She's been solid. In fact, in some cases, I'm the one who's actually making the mistakes, but she's super solid. So that backing is very important. It's super important. Now, she has sacrificed so much. Pretty much her adult life, she's been homeschooling five children. She gave up everything. Everything. Now, you might be thinking, it's a small thing, it's a light thing, it's not a big deal. I'll tell you something, it is a big deal, because the idea of homeschooling was not just homeschooling for the sake of it, because it was literally like private school, because the kids used to do activities like horse riding, swimming, gymnastics, tennis, travel around the UK for tournaments and so on and so forth, to a point where she was literally like exhausted and tired. And she played that part. And you may be thinking, oh, well, it's for the kids. Now, as a parent, I'm sure you can agree with me. Can you imagine going to bed knowing you have a kid that is out there pushing drugs? Would you have a good night's sleep? If you had a child, a daughter who is out there and they're messing around with guys, probably taking drugs, would that sit well with you as a parent? Would you have a good night's sleep? Chances are no. Because as a parent, we want the best for our children. And she did everything. And that took a big, massive stress off my chest. It made me now focus on what we needed to do to achieve what we've achieved. So just bear in mind that when you're watching me on these videos, it's not just me. She's also an engineer, but behind the scenes. Even the children, they have gone through so much, because there is situations where I'd need to spend time with them, but I can't, because I'm learning a new concept in marketing. I'm creating a new product. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And they lose out on my quality time. And that time cannot be bought back. It's time which is gone. Right? But sometimes that's what you need to do to sacrifice. That is why, like now, at this time in my life, I'm starting to reflect, because when you're in the moment, you don't actually see what is happening. You don't see what is going on. But now when I look back, I have children which are very respectful, And, they're doing very well. They've got nothing to complain about. In fact, the last thing on my mind is, the children are in trouble. And I don't even need to worry about that, because that is already what? It's already sorted. And that foundation was built by my wife. Now, when it comes to personally, me now, I think I mentioned earlier on, I'm a very difficult person to deal with. I have a lot of attention to detail, and things have to be done a specific way. If they're not, I'm brutal with how I speak. In fact, I'll give you a quick story. There was a time where my second born, he used to say, Dad, I'm studying. Dad, I'm studying. I went to bed at 12 o'clock. And I said, look, I want results. You can talk about studying, doing this, doing that, but I'm not really interested in that, because that alone does not matter if you bring the results that don't reflect the work that you've put in. So I want to see the results. That's what I focus on. At the time, it felt so ruthless, but it also taught them a lesson, because I talk to my kids, and we have a very good relationship. And she said, and he said, you know what? When you told me that, at first I felt like, why is he saying this? But it's true, because life out there is brutal. There's no one out there who's going to be, patting you on your back, giving you everything on a silver plate. No, life is brutal to a point where, sometimes you just think that the world is against you. So I wanted to prepare them for all of this. I also remember my firstborn, when he was 16, I had a one-to-one discussion with him. And I said to him, listen, I've given you all the opportunities that you need to be a successful man in life. What I've done for you is way more than what my dad have done for me. What your mom has done for you is way more, right, than probably what was done for her. If you mess up your grades at school, just know that you're not coming home here, because I will not have time to feed a grown-up. And this was at 16, I was telling him this. So the reason why I told him was because I want him to realize that life, you can't just be floating around coasting and hoping that everything is going to be okay. No, because we've done so many sacrifices for the children to be where they are. And if they miss their opportunity, they need to be made aware that if your opportunity goes, that's it, you're done. And every now and again, when I speak to my eldest, he says to me, Dad, that conversation that we did where you say to me, if I fail my O-levels, my GCSEs, then that's it. I have to take care of myself. That scared me so much. But you see, I followed it up with examples. So I gave them examples of family members. I said, you see that one? Look at him. He did not do well in school. Do you see what he's doing right now? That one. Do you see what they're doing right now? So it was more like a lesson plus an example. But they appreciate it, because every now and again we laugh about it, and it really prepared them to really work hard. And they did very well. Now let's go back to how to be successful in the diaspora, or even wherever you are, even in Zimbabwe. So if you don't have the right partner, oh my goodness, you are in trouble. And by the way, when I mentioned that my wife, it doesn't mean that it's the wife that always has to be level-headed and positive. Sometimes you can be the woman, the wife. You really want what's good for your family, but the husband is crazy, right? So for you to be successful, it's got to be teamwork. You have to be working together. So this is something that's often neglected, because we are busy working with what we have right now. But on the grand scheme of things, it has to be teamwork. Because really, if you look at it, can you imagine? You are fully focused, you really want things to work, and you have a wife that is crazy. She wants fashion, she wants to drive the latest car, she wants to show her friends that, look, my husband has done this for me. It's all about bragging. If you have that type of wife, you're going to be in trouble when it comes time to retire, or when it comes time to do positive things that you may want to do in life. Some of us, we don't have backup systems where we have rich parents, probably we're the first generation that has really done something, that is significant. So it depends. If you have a backup plan, then it's different because, some people are different. Sometimes you can be the wife and you're telling your husband, look, this is what we need to do. We really need to plan for this. We need to do this. We need to do that. And you know what? That guy is busy with the stupid friends, drinking, spending so much time watching football, Okay, football. There's a guy in the comments that say to me, there's nothing wrong with football. Okay, I take it back. He spends his time with his friends, wasting time instead of doing, a lot of positive things in their life. There was one day, a friend of mine I worked with back in Zimbabwe, just after school. He came to visit, in the UK. So I told him where we were, and we met up in Birmingham. So he was also meeting a childhood friend, a lady. So the lady, she's in the NHS. I think she's a nurse or something. So she comes with her friend, and their husbands come. So I'm looking at these two guys and I'm thinking, something is not adding up. Something is wrong here. But I couldn't make up what it was. So when it came now time to order some food, the guy said, oh, can you sort me out so I'll give you the money later? And the wife refused. And she only ordered some drinks for her and her friend. I found that very, very weird. And I couldn't believe what was happening. So the guy sat there and he starts now talking about this big project. We've got this mining project I'm working on and I really want to go into mining and all this. So, with me now, I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, I think something is wrong with him, because something must be wrong. As a couple, married couple, you can't be acting like that, in public. At least there was supposed to be some cover up if something is not right. So I'm observing. I'm sat there because bear in mind, I'm not really in the Zimbabwe circles, when I'm in the UK. Because I don't have time, to socialize, and there's a lot of things that I need to do and learn every day for my business to work. So I don't really have that time. So seeing that, I just looked at my friend and I was like, wow. In fact, when you look at someone and the eyes are communicating, that's exactly what happened that moment. So turns out now that later on, as we were speaking, my friend was telling me now, I've heard that there's ladies or women that take care of their husbands in the UK. And I'm like, no. Come on, how can that be possible? Is that happening? And he says, yes, it is happening. There are women who are taking care of their husbands in the UK. Their husbands are not even employed. And I'm like, I've never seen that. And I wouldn't think that's the case because from what I know, a lot of Zimbabweans work hard, a lot of Zimbabweans work hard. So how could that be the case? So he went on to say, a lot of these women, they work hard, they do all these shifts and they just keep their money to themselves. So can you imagine you're trying to arrange plans for retirement and you have a situation like that? How does that even work out? How does that even work out? So this is where you find us now bringing a lot of issues about, politics this. Zimbabwe is so bad. I mean, I've met people who hate Zimbabwe with a passion. And I've always wondered why. And I guess sometimes these are perhaps the guys who really, hate the country because you've missed opportunities. You've made bad decisions and you can't just go back home and do what you have to do. So the only thing you're left with now is just to bash everything positive about what? About the country. So the reason why I'm bringing this up was, number one, as a way to appreciate my family because they've been putting up with so much craziness from me. And they've just hung on. There's situations where I kept on putting money into these projects, but we had no money for basics, no holidays. All the money was going into these projects, and they've been very patient. So it's not easy to do without, because you're working for a dream and then not appreciate that person, in the role they played. So I guess this video is acknowledging that, yes, when you comment, be aware that there's also engineers behind the scenes that are silently working to keep the ship going, or keep the ship moving. Secondly, when it comes to relationships, these type of things can also mess up your plans. Because think about it. If you have a woman or a wife that is leaning towards listening to everyone in the family from their side, whatever it is, and they get distracted, that is not a sign of a strong woman. Because you have to do what is best for your family, your wife, your kids, and that's what matters the most. And that's what's, your responsibility is. So the moment you start diverting and you start giving energy to people that are not, like immediately in need of your support, then you're going to have a lot of problems. The second thing is, sometimes the wife, the husband, they want to do a lot of positive things, retirement, buy a piece of land, buy a house, and do all the sorts of things. But you know who jumps up the program? Your own parents. That's how crazy things can be. So you have to be in a situation where you are handling all these dynamics. I call it politics, right? You have to be in a way, in a strong position to handle all these things. Because where there is money, there's always problems. There's always problems, and there's always troublemakers. Your own mother can be a troublemaker in your family, where if she wants something, she will start creating stories, creating scenes to just make things very difficult. Your own brother can be someone who's jamming up the program because he wants something. So it is very, very important to have a very strong team in order to achieve this. Because sometimes we talk about, it's capital. We need capital. It's not just capital. You also need a very strong family team, even the kids, to understand the dream, to understand what is right there at the end of the what? At the end of the tunnel. So it is not easy to achieve, first of all, the money, first of all, the wife or the husband who is focused. Now you have to deal with the family and still make it. It's not easy. So this is why I was saying, wow, just bear that in mind. Okay? Just bear that in mind. So, what's happening now for Ruwa Organic? I'm really excited, because a lot of you have been calling me. They have similar experiences and they can resonate with what I'm talking about. And I find it very interesting because, when I create these videos, I'm creating these videos and I'm not even aware of what impacts these videos have out there. And sometimes I want to hear what people are saying when it comes to watching these videos. I see it in the comments sometimes, and people are saying, you know what, we're rooting for you, please don't give up, we're praying for you. And I'm like, wow. Now, this is a very serious community. I did not even think that people will look at me, because I'm just an ordinary guy, who just talks about his experiences and also has dreams and aspirations. So I didn't think that this could be something that people would listen to and also even follow. So that alone is the extra fuel that I have to make this channel grow. And there's a lot of plans that I'm thinking, for this channel to really help those quiet voices, because there are people out there who are suffering in silence, So perhaps maybe if you have a voice, or at least hear my experiences, the experiences of others, this can be a positive thing, because that way you're not alone. Because it's very easy to be in your own little room, in your own little corner, and suffer in silence because you think you're the only one who's going through this. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people going through a lot. And I just want to create this opportunity to say, you know what? Stay strong. It's not easy. You're not the only one. If I were to tell you what I've been through, what I've gone through, we could go hours. Even just me entering the UK, the drama that happened, the people that promised me that we're going to be staying together, the way they just switched off their phones and automatically they became, nasty. And then the people that helped me, we will be spending weeks just talking about my experiences. So you're not the only one, And what I'm also hoping for, or not hoping, but what I'm planning for the future is I want to have a sort of like a live show where people can tune in. We make some calls. I know we've done it before. We need to repeat that because, it's actually fun. People can hang out. We can discuss ideas, talk about experiences and so on. And also have a podcast. I want people to express, their journeys, what they have done, where they have messed up, how they've been successful, and so on. So all these things are coming to Ruwa Organic. So it's not just going to be like my channel showcasing just my journey, but let's make it a big community because I've realized that this community thing is actually a big thing, and it is actually very exciting, hearing and communicating with people. So anyway, guys, I don't want to make this too long. Thank you very much for watching, folks. So in the next few days, you're going to see quite a lot of changes and upgrades. The website is now working. If you want to be part of the community, go ahead to ruwaorganic.com and sign up to be a community member. We're going to be sharing exclusive content in there, and this is somewhere where we need to help each other out and let this be a place like home, where you can get emotional support and share ideas and so on. I am learning a lot from this channel, so I would like more people to, get ideas and also learn. So head over to ruwaorganic.com and sign up. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. It's free. So go ahead, sign up, and I'll see you again in the next video. Take care.